Oh. All right, welcome back to those of you who are back. Refreshed. 13 minutes. Okay, hello Kate, hello John, Ethan. Hopefully didn't lose anybody entirely here. Okay, all right, hi to now. Excellent. Okay, Robert, are you here?
I am here, Professor.
Okay. All right. So I will share my screen, Robert, and start your author discussion. Thinking about it, like if I had to give you guys an assignment, which I'm not going to do that, obviously, but just in terms of like a poem prompt, it's like it would be interesting that we're talking about like frankness and elusiveness. It would be very interesting to have a poem prompt in which just to say, write one line, at least one line, maybe two lines, that are really super frank, just laying it on the line, being as plain as possible, and then also as a counterbalance to write a line that maybe is even truly mysterious, even to you. I think that tension between frankness and mystery is a part of the heat of a poem, and it's really hard to do. You know, if you're too frank, it's boring. You're too elusive, it's confusing. You know, and so it's like always that tension. You know, it's an interesting thing to try to access. All right. So I will turn things over to you, Robert, for your author discussion. Looking forward.
Okay. Society. Poem. I kissed my dog on the mouth. I have an accent like your favorite Valley girl, and I dance like one too. I like tennis over baseball, and I like volleyball over football. I've been told those were the girl sports, although I doubt the fact that you sit around watching Sunday NFL makes you an expert in anything. Because I'd rather watch The Bachelorette or Keeping Up with the Kardashians before I'd ever be caught dead watching ESPN. I'm not made out of that kind of masculinity. I think I might be made out of a different kind of synergy. And all I can try to do is be a little more me. Because honestly, Legally Blonde is my favorite trilogy. You ask me for a rap and I'll give you a soliloquy. Trying to be your version of a man is not heaven, it's purgatory and absolute hell. But have fun in your social prison and this pain you know so well. Everything's gay to you. A hug, a cry, a feeling, a fucking dose of friendship outside the traditional confines of your toxic masculinity. But that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. I wear pink tank tops and I dress up in drag. I look good in a v-neck, but you should see me with breasts. I'm the best and I say yes to the dress. I'm not afraid that you'll think me less. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I know all the lyrics to every Miley Cyrus song, and I'll listen to Katy Perry over Eminem every time. And when you ask me to rhyme, I'll write you a poem over a rap every day of the week, because your approval is not the codependency that I seek. I love Broadway musicals. It's my favorite genre of music. And every time that Mean Girls soundtrack comes on, I lose it. And every time that Wicked soundtrack comes on, I lose it. And every time that Waitress Sarah Bareilles soundtrack comes on, I lose it. And I cry at Pixar movies, and I cry at Disney princess movies. And I have an entire Spotify playlist dedicated to Mulan and Moulin Rouge. I'm not the boy that you imbued. I cry during Moonlight at Saving Private Ryan and American History X in Pleasantville, and when the girl gave the apple to Tommy Maguire and it was a metaphor for Genesis and God and the color that you and I both have, I cried. Because just like the message of that movie, I'm not black or white. I am not black or white. I am color. I am color. I am color. And I will not live inside your box, because I am so much more than the version of me that you want me to be, and I revolt like the angels, like Anatole France, against your patriarchal prison of monarchistic self-suppression of sissyhood, when I know that what makes me a man is so much more than you could ever understand.
All right, Robert, give us some context, some process notes. Tell us what you think about the feedback. Ask us questions. The floor is yours.
Sure. So I took a poetry class with Soleil. I don't know. Yeah.
And Soleil, I love Soleil.
Yeah, she speaks highly of you. And when we were in office hours, we talked for almost an hour, actually, and she and I started. We went off on a little bit of a tangent, and I started talking about the real deep philosophical implications of the movie Legally Blonde. And then she said, "Wow, you're really passionate about your Reese Witherspoon movies. You should write a poem about it." And so I was challenged by Soleil to try to write a poem that encapsulated my love of Legally Blonde.
Excellent, Robert. But this is so much more than that, of course. So what did you think of the feedback, and what other questions do you have?
Well, first, yeah, I wanted to, at least in this poetry quarter, with these poems, I've tried to explore aspects of like vulnerability, with talking about things, being addicted to things that maybe you shouldn't be, or in this case, having aspects of my personality that other people find feminine, or I can think in the first place, in the first poem, just trying to express love, but the second guessing your own sort of cute love metaphors, like, is this making sense to you? And sort of trying to encapsulate that anxiety. And so I guess my question for you guys with this piece is that I still try to, even though I read it as a little bit more serious than my other first two poems. And I was wondering but I still wanted there to be elements of like comedy to it, and I wanted it to be funny, like I Kissed My Dog on the Mouth, or as I've been traveling the country, people have asked me if I'm from LA. So apparently I do have an LA accent, so that's where the Valley Girl line came from. So, and I was wondering if you guys felt like if some of the comedy came through for you. That would be my first question.
All right, great question. So did the comedy come through for you, Robert's first question? Go ahead, Janelle.
100%. This poem, it just easily flowed from vulnerability and sensitivity to humor and a little bit of self-deprecation, but in a way that was so confident about the speaker's masculinity, what they believe masculinity is, and the humor was really effective and really essential, because I felt like this is such a really divisive topic, and this just humor is exactly what is feels like a fresh take on this, and I love it. Thank you so much for writing this. I feel like it's so important for our societal change that's going through, where men can be like this, and I don't know, it's great.
Agreed, Janelle. Agreed. Go ahead, John.
The humor came through in that up to the poem. So there was seriousness to it, but also a humorous part to it. And all that came through at the correct moment in time. So and also like how the poem just basically talk about how society tries to put you in a box, tries to make you what they want you to be, or what they assume that's what you should be, and that you'll do what they assume that you should be. You know, like social media, it's basically you being attacked by comment, what you do, you're not lying, that's not what you're supposed to do. So it's basically turned everything upside down and using a humorous note to it, defend yourself. You know, don't change for nobody. Stick to your beliefs. And so the comedy came through at the same time and made it out of fun.
Yeah. And comedy is so important because, I guess maybe I'll ask the workshop or Robert too. It's like, I love what you said, John, about that the comedy comes through, but also the seriousness comes through as well. And like you said, just at the right moment. You know, there's a great sense of timing, which, you know, is talent to a certain extent, knowing what to leave in, what to take out, and what to leave in and when it should emerge. Other people want to respond to Robert's question about the humor, and if it came through. To me. And I could hear your voice. I could hear Robert's voice. I mean, it's like there's such a sense of character, and it's so fun and it's so joyful, and yet it's so moving and meaningful at the same time. And that's quite an accomplishment. I like one of my early poetry teachers. He would talk about playing every note of your throat, and it feels like there's so many notes of the throat being played here. Robert, why is the humor important to you that comes across?
Well, specifically this quarter, that was my goal for these 3 poems, was to try to put, I think I said this before, but take some of my different, because I have a very eclectic sense of, I am in a lot of different like writing genres. I write, you know, articles, and I do stand-up comedy, and I write like novels and poetry and stuff. And for me, it feels like I don't want to be like a jack of all trades and a master of none, right? So I want to try to see if I can take some of those different types of writing genres and like kind of intermix them together. So my social experiment with these 3 poems was to try to see if I could take, you know, my stand-up comedy and my, you know, poetry and try to like mix those 2 things together. And that was my overall goal for this quarter.
This piece for me seems to be your most successful piece, in part because it retains the humor and energy of your voice and your insight, but also really it feels like there's a true crescendo, you know, and also a true variation. And so that desire, you said, to braid your different skill sets and your eclectic sensibilities together, I think it's a 10 in this piece. This feels like no one else could write this piece but you. Like, meaning, I mean, as all our poems, no one could write them but us. But I mean, it feels like you're at the height of your power in terms of your point of view on the page, and your humor and your depth. It comes across. And I love today that we had Our Lady of Guadalupe and that we have Elwood represented as the figures of devotion, love. Other questions, Robert? You said that was your first question, was about did the humor come through? There are 3 of us saying yes, absolutely. Other questions or comments or context?
Sure. I don't know if I could specifically ask pointed questions to certain people. Is that?
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Well, I would ask. First, I would ask like John or Ethan if you felt like, as like, you know, men living, in the United States of America, if you feel like, because I remember, John, I think you said in the first class, you talked about there are times that you get emotional, or that you cry, and that's a part of yourself that you're in touch with. And if either you, Ethan or John, felt like, oh, okay, I do have, moments where I go off the beaten path from what is expected of a man, and this felt like, oh, okay, this speaks somewhat to my experiences, because that was somewhat my goal with this, so I wonder if that spoke to either of you guys as, men of the 21st century.
Mm.
I would say that, especially growing up in the South, they try to put you in a box and try to say that, you should do this and do that. And I got a lot of that because I was reading comics, I was watching anime, and I wasn't in the larger pool of what everybody else went through. So it was one of them where you're just a child. You were this, you were that. So that's how this thing connected to me. So trying to be placed in a box. And I still read comics. I never let nobody dictate to me what I like and what I dislike. You do you, and I do me, don't worry about you. Don't worry about me. You do you. And that's what I got from, and that's how I feel.
Ethan, what about you? Do you want to respond? Thank you, John, first of all. Ethan, do you want to respond to Robert's question?
Sure. I guess I don't know, as far as traditional traits of masculinity go in the United States. I'm sure I exhibit some of them, but I always kind of felt the same way as some of the people that already spoke, that it's more important to just fall in line with what you enjoy and not sort of capitulate to the demands and wants of others, and just kind of stay true to yourself as much as you can. And if you really like to watch football, then go ahead and watch football, but don't disparage other people for not liking football, So that's all I would have to say about that.
Thank you, Ethan. Does that satisfy your question, Robert?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I would ask Ethan a question, but I wouldn't want it to come off necessarily that I was disparaging people who do fall into, if they want, fall into those feminine or masculine, personas, because I don't necessarily think that that's exactly what the poem is about. I don't necessarily think that every man has to cry at, movies, and every, man necessarily has to dress up in drag or listen to Miley Cyrus, to really find himself. I think if you know what I mean? But yeah, so I guess I would ask it to Ethan, but I can ask it also to the class, is that, I hope that it doesn't come off necessarily in the poem that I'm disparaging any woman who enjoys feminine things, or any man who necessarily enjoys masculine things, because I appreciate those people as well. That's just not me necessarily.
The piece did feel kind of like a protest to more monochromatic notions of masculinity and femininity, but I didn't necessarily think that. I guess in a sense, in your view, it was a critique of certain values that people that succumb to those two categories often have, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. Well, I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit about those, kind of like you're reflecting on your own wants, but you're also kind of getting angry that people have, or at least the speaker, maybe a little upset that maybe there's been an experience where you felt like you had to be kind of cubbyholed into a type of behavior or disposition. So I think it would be incorrect for me to say that there isn't kind of a protest and trying to break down a wall that exists in our society, but I didn't think it was a bad thing. I just thought it was one perspective front of the speaker, and that's totally fine because everyone has their own perspectives on things.
You know, one thing I wanted to point out to speak to Robert's question too, thank you, Ethan, for your response, is it, so the poem's called Society, a Poem, which I feel is very purposeful, to have that, a poem in brackets. And of course, the you of the poem is society, and then more specifically, these expectations of what a traditional man is in American culture. But I feel like that the second stanza, I've been told those were girl sports, is the third line of the second stanza. Although I doubt that the fact that you sit around watching Sunday NFL makes you an expert in anything. That's the only moment where the you doesn't feel like society, it feels like an actual person, like where society is like sitting around watching NFL all day. Like that's the only moment where it felt like there was a judgment on someone who would do that. Where everything else did feel more pulled back, and it felt to me more like a piece, exactly what John said, and the poem said, all I can try to do is be a little more me. This is about particularization, not specifically liking something that's feminine or traditionally masculine, but just enjoying what you enjoy, as John so aptly said. You do you, I do me, don't worry about me. You know, but there does seem to be like a parent-child relationship and the natural individuation. That's what this piece felt like. It's like is a protest against, like you said, Ethan said, a monochromatic sensibility of gender, and a celebration of a particularization of a human being. So, but just that second stanza, that's the only place where it felt like kind of on the line, but I accepted it. I didn't problem at all. Did people? I wanted to ask a question because I felt like there was in the repetitions. Let me see. Where's the first one? But that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. Right here. But that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. What's interesting to me about the repetition, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. And then the final, I am color. I am color. I am color. Like that's where the emotion of the poem was for me. Like where there is a feeling of like a quivering in the voice. And I was just curious if other people had that same response to those moments of repetition, that's where the emotion really peaked, as it did for me. Just curious if anybody else had that experience. Chat. Yes, I agree. I don't know if you're agreeing with me. And the peak of the humor for me was in the repetition of I lose it, I lose it, I lose it. Like, I mean, that to me, it's just like, just what a wonderful skill set you have, Robert, to be able to write something that has emotion and has such genuine humor and like feels like something that's not simply about masculinity, although it certainly is about it. And I appreciate what Janelle said, like, we need this bad, you know, we need like a million versions of this. Like, but I'm very glad to have this one version. So my timer just went off. So, Robert, what do you have to share with us? Or often you ask me to look it up because I figure you're not. I mean, you can just read something too. You don't have to share your screen.
Sure. In keeping with sort of some of the contents of the poem, there's this Broadway musical song from a musical called Something Rotten, and the name of the song is Right Hand Man, and it's actually it does sort of it's on the same sort of topic in my opinion, but it's the opposite. It's a woman talking about basically that she wants her husband to see her as more of like an equal, and then he thinks that or he wants her to, maybe she wants him to see it more as a partner, and he's like, well, you're not a man, you can't be my right hand man, right? You know what I mean? You can't fit that sort of societal role. And she's like, and so it's the opposite. I think, in my opinion, it's what my poem is trying to do while doing the gender reversal, right? It's a woman asking more for don't judge me on on feminine sort of binary terms.
I swear, there's nothing more attractive in a human being than them being themselves entirely, whatever that is. It's like whatever that is, and and so what a cool celebration. But do you want to read a couple lines from that piece, or is it just more the idea of it that you want to share with us? Okay, you got it. Okay, so you're putting it on there.
Yeah, if you want to follow that link and then share that with the class, we could just, if you're okay with us listening to the song as a class.
Yeah, totally down with that. All right, just give me 1 second. All right, let me try to share the screen. Can you hear this? Can you hear it? No.
Oh, no, I can't hear it. I think you have your volume turned down.
Somehow I forget how to, hold on a second, I forget how to share. Let me stop.
I could see,
I think there's something,
on the actual YouTube video, it looks like your sound is like turned all the way down.
Oh, I see. I can hear it, but you guys can't hear it. All right, let me try it one more time. All right, let me pause this. Okay. Can you hear it? No. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, at least we can see this, and you can follow it, and you can listen to it, those of you who have this link, because for whatever reason the sound isn't coming through. I know that there's a way, I forget, there's something on the actual, it's the Zoom setting that somehow I'm not sharing. I know it's really simple, but I forget how to do it, how to share the sound.
Can I try, Professor, can I try screen share?
Yes, of course, please.
Okay.
If you ever got in trouble, I would be there on the double just to bail you out. If there's anything new, like I've always got your back, that's what it's all about. Think of me as a sidekick, helping you whenever I can. I'm more than just a woman, baby, when the pressure's coming, baby, let me be your right-hand man.
But you're not a man. I'm the man.
You're not hearing me. If you're ever in a pickle, you can call for me and quick'll be how fast I run.
I'm not in a pickle.
You and me should be a team for any dream or any scheme. That's how it should be done. Sure, I could stay in the background, just smiling every now and again. But just to be a pretty lady, that would be a pity, baby. Let me be your right-hand man.
You should listen to her. She's usually right. Eat your cabbage. Okay.
I am stronger than you think. Don't be thinking I ain't tough. I am where you ought to go when the going gets rough. So when things are going badly,
But they're not. They kind of are. Those things are fine.
but if they weren't,
It's okay.
love,
What?
oh,
What?
quit trying to protect
Can
me.
we change the subject, please?
Not until I know that if you're ever in a fix and it's a fix you need to nix, then I'm your go-to guy.
You're not a guy.
Don't be so literal, and don't forget I'm not a shrinking violet, a solid rock. Hey, am I? So don't be thinking I'll crumble when the you know what hits the fan. There's no problem that's too big when you're married, that's the gig. So don't be a sexist. Hey! Is it acting get you boys some meat. Baby, I'm your right, don't put up a fight. I can be your right, starting here tonight. Let me be your right. Let me be your right hand man.
That was great, Robert, man. This class, you cannot argue that we are not eclectic. We are eclectic as hell. It's crazy. Thank you, Robert. Sharing your soul. We are all sharing our souls with each other in this way. This is fantastic. And musicals, I will say this, and then we'll move on to Ethan's poem. What a genre. There are some shitty musicals, and then the musicals I've seen that are great are like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, I will say. Okay, so Ethan, last but not least, let's not do that.